Hi, in this video I want to talk about communication and radiation. What do I mean by radiation? I mean radiating a status or some kind of information out to the rest of your organization. This is critically important when working remotely. The first kind of radiation I want to talk about is presence radiation. When you're at the office, everyone can see that you're there and that you're available. But when you're working remotely, you are basically on your own planet. So the only way that anyone knows that you are present and available is if you tell them. For this reason, whenever you're working remotely, you should have some kind of communication tool set up with a company-wide channel that allows you to announce your presence. And this can be very simple, like a message in the morning to say, hello, I'm here, I'm working remotely from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. Or at lunchtime, hi, I'm stepping out for lunch. Or at the end of the day, that you are out and will be back tomorrow morning. This can also include information like someone being in a meeting for the next hour and wishing not to be disturbed. The next aspect to radiation is actually including your colleagues in the work that you're doing. This is, again, something which would be natural at an office environment. Anyone there would be able to see what you're doing, and they would also be able to see if you are facing some kind of problem. When you're working remotely, there's no way for anyone to tell that, and you have to tell them. So try to include your coworkers in what you're doing when you're starting a new project or when you're facing a problem. Don't give anyone a blow-by-blow narration of everything you're doing. That's too granular and it's not appropriate. But radio silence is even less appropriate. So the rule of thumb I normally use is if I was sitting in a physical office and there's something that I would deem important enough to talk to the person next to me about, then when I'm working remotely, I will get onto a channel that's monitored by my team and tell them that I've started a project or that maybe I've had to break off and do something else which is going to delay some work that they are waiting on, or that I'm facing some kind of problem and need their help. You need to ask for help early when working remotely because no one can see that you're struggling and offer it. So it's very important to always try and include your team in whatever you're doing. In terms of general technology for communications, things like Skype or company-wide WhatsApp groups are not appropriate communication tools for remote workers. You need something that is a little bit more specific to the team that you're working with. Tools like Slack and HipChat are excellent examples of things that do work. There you can set up specialized channels for individual teams that allow them to communicate information that's important to that team without distracting the rest of the business or having their message to their coworkers get lost in the noise of the general company channel. You should still have general company channels for things like announcements, but that should not be your only communications medium. For a tool like that, I recommend Slack only because I've got the most experience with it, and I will put a link to it in the video description.